As many people stood out on North Autumn, an aunt of Andre recalls standing there in total disbelief. She looked around, and at that time, she says nothing had been blocked off. There were people all over the place. Eventually, as the police secured the scene and more people arrived on North Autumn, there were 2 firemen that were walking away from the wooded area. Andre's aunt remembers one shaking his head as the other one speaks aloud and says, "This was not a suicide." So much was going on at the time, so much chaos, so many stood and waited in fear. Andre's mother, Miss Norma, was feeling as if by now, with so much time passing, that law enforcement were stalling her. The family was not waiting any longer. It was now night. At least 4 hours had passed before a total hostile situation was getting ready to occur in Clearview subdivision. Resident Nathan Williams informed Miss Norma he would go back and identify the body. He knew Miss Norma from church and worked at the fire department. It only took a few moments. He, in fact, identified that the body in the wooded area was Andre Roland. Miss Norma asked him if her baby was hanging. Mr. Williams told her that he was actually in a kneeling position as if he was praying. Miss Norma then went immediately to the coroner's office to identify her son. Miss Norma ended up arriving before they did. Once at the coroner's office, there were many red flags immediately as she closely looked at her son's body. There was blood on his shirt, but as she thoroughly looked to see if she could identify where the blood had come from, she came up with nothing. She said to the medical examiner, "Where did this blood come from?" But he was unsure. Andre's nose was clean. His tongue hanged out of his mouth. No blood in his mouth at all. No dirt under his nails. They were clean. Andre was clean, as if he had just taken a bath, with no answers at all for the odd findings and being told he arrived this way. Miss Norma was more and more convinced that the prolonging that took place at the scene meant that there must have been some type of cover-up taking place on the scene. On March 27th, 1989, the Columbia Tribune releases a statement, an article that says, NAACP doubts suicide, foul play suspected in youth hanging. The NAACP suspects foul play in the hanging of a 14-year-old Boone County boy that the Boone County Sheriff's Department has called a suicide. Andre Roland of 472 East Hackberry Boulevard in the Clearview subdivision near Prathersville was found dead at about 5:30 p.m. Friday. He was hanging by a belt from the limb of a tree behind the subdivision, Sheriff Ted Boehm said today. Both Boehm and Vernie Fountain, investigator for the County Medical Examiner's Office, said the death was a suicide. There was no evidence of foul play, Fountain said.